Eugene, thank you so much for joining us here at FF's ITC coverage. Eugene, could you tell our audience your full name, your job role, and your organization?
Thank you, Doug. Thank you for having me here. So I'm Eugene Shafronsky. I'm head of strategy at Thinktum.
Amazing. And Eugene, could you tell us a bit more about Thinktum?
Yeah, briefly. Thinktum being founded in 2018, been founded to support mainly one of the largest no-medical carriers in Canada. Since then, lots of things changed, including the carrier who've been sold to another big insurance company. So since 2020, Thinktum goal was to figure out its direction. I joined the company a year ago, and so together direction became how we can support insurance technology or insurtech in general in a way that perhaps hasn't been done before, right? In more holistic approach and so on. So we developed lots of interesting ideas since then. We got a new development in October, November, looking at the no-code platform to be able to improve the overall experience of customers, the overall customer journey. Finished some of it earlier this year, had our first demonstrations in May, and since then we're finding more and more use cases, that's what makes it interesting.
That's amazing. It was actually going to be one of my next questions is what's new at Thinktum, but it sounds like everything is rolling towards insurance. I mean, can you tell us a bit more about it then?
Yeah, it's a very good question because insurance initially was more of a use case. Is we have insurance people on board that understand the industry and technology people that understand technology. So we figure out that we're going to use insurance as our use case. We're going to understand or show the world what our technology can do through insurance, and then insurance became our kind of first target market. But in reality it's not really geared to insurance, it's geared to, generally speaking, or general customer journey, customer experience. We want to take all possible different silos or process that insurance has or any other process has, combine them together to optimize the journey to be the best ever possible for the customers or consumers, the same way they consume anything else today, because we're all consumers. We all like it to be fast, simple, personalized. We want it to be the same.
Totally. Now, what are some of the challenges that Thinktum had to embrace to kind of help your customers streamline those challenges?
Well, I think one of the challenges was, the perception of insurtech industry often as being a disruptor. We came across as being a collaborator. So there's a different perceptions we all have to fight about what technology is, what artificial intelligence is, what insurtech in general is. Are you come in and now all our people are going to get fired, right? Or are you going to come in and going to change the way we work? There's all of the things that we have to work around, but again, we work through all of it using collaboration. We want to make sure both our people and our technology is there to help them to get to the next level and not to disturb them, not to change them in a way they don't like to be changed.
Well, I think that is fascinating because you can only push the envelope so far. And I think that leads me perfectly on to my next question. And how do you go about doing that? What differentiates Thinktum to your other competitors?
Yeah, so there's a few elements. I already mentioned to you about the human factor, as we really pride ourselves of having both expertise in technology and also expertise in business. But we also look at our no-code platform. And I know no-code itself is not a new idea, and many companies, including here in this conference, talk about no-code. But we call it a pure no-code concept. In our concept, our no-code really is you can, as a non-programmer, as a business expert, to change it, to work with it, to create it, to model it anytime you want. And even if you don't want to, by looking at it, it's a glass box concept. You can fully understand how it's all connected. And then from there, all the data collection capabilities, and we look at data collection as being in all the areas, not just data coming in, but how user is behaving, allows you to optimize it all the time. Finally, which is something I personally proud the most about, it's a personalization. It's a hyper-personalization. It allows us to create unique customer journeys for every customer as they completing the journey. And that allows us to really give that experience of them being special.
Well, speaking of special, it sounds like Thinktum certainly are. So what are some of these special developments that are going to be happening at Thinktum in the coming years to match the pace of change we're seeing across the industry?
It's a good question. And first of all, I'm happy to see that many companies at this conference are trying, and I see them over time, and they keep on getting better and bringing more and more value to the industry, which that's what we want. From our perspective, we're going to continue developing our journey, our platform to gain more new functionalities. As I mentioned to you, we kind of initially geared it just for insurance, but we want to be able to help other areas around insurance, and not only. Even today, we had a number of people approaching us, looking at ideas that we probably didn't think about. The lead generation, maybe some health network, maybe some other areas in which processes are very important. How we can help people to be able to go through this customer journey in a way that makes sense to them. But we don't want to be just a one-trick pony, which is insurance. We believe there's so many processes. And then again, think about it. We can amalgamate all processes in one, and it can be one process that can select your need and take you that direction, to that aspect, to that area. And that's really what we wanted to do.
I love hearing it. Now, with that in mind, we've heard what's next for Thinktum, but what's been simmering away at this conversation is the insurance industry itself is going through a lot of changes. So what's next for insurance?
I'm gonna take a different direction a bit, because often people think, well, what insurance is going to be? But I think it's what people that run insurance going to be. And that's the most important part that we often don't talk about. And I'm gonna explain myself. I believe that people that behind insurance are changing, the roles, the titles, right? What they're gonna be doing. And in my mind, what we're gonna see going forward is most of the business experts and people that operate insurance gonna change how they are. So there's a fear of technology and AI, and there's a fear of it's gonna replace people. It's not going to replace people. It's gonna change people. It's gonna make people better. People gonna become much more valuable to their organizations, because now instead of doing routine, boring, methodical tasks, they're gonna be doing something valuable, creative. They're gonna be operating technology, collecting data, and they will be able to provide very valuable information to their leaders. And they're gonna become part of the table, or sitting at the table, making decisions, helping create better products, creating more competitive pricing, be able to really help consumers, not just the bottom line of the company, but how consumer can enjoy more from everything. That's what I think future of insurance. Maybe I'm a dreamer, maybe I'm over optimistic, but that's what I believe in.